Alright, we're going to take a look at Duel of Ages 2. This is a game that I've been wanting since it came out, and just wasn't sure how I was going to go about it. Thought about just buying the full boat, but never really had $200 to spare. So I found it online on a Board Game Geek auction, picked up for 30 bucks, which is just right. I have Duel of Ages 1, sets 1 and 2 over there. The way they've done Duel of Ages 2 is there's the base set and then the master set, which is basically 2 through 9 or whatever of the expansions all in one box. I would have rather them split it up into smaller boxes so that you could buy, here and there, but I'm sure economy of scale, they sell it for $140, $150 and you get all the expansions. I would rather piecemeal them, and then I might actually do it, but maybe I'll still get around to it. So we'll try to just cover basic gameplay, try to highlight some of the differences between the two. I love Duel of Ages 1. I'm enjoying Duel of Ages 2 so far. So we'll try to highlight the differences and if it's worth picking up. I don't know that I'll be able to come to a definitive conclusion on if it's worth picking up the second one if you have the first one. If you don't have the first one and you like these types of conflict heavy games, this is a great one. It's a lot of fun. So the biggest difference is this challenge deck. Instead of rolling any dice, everything's handled by the cards. The dismissal or banishment's handled here, and you still have dice rolls on here, you can see, but they're handled on the card. The domes are now colored. See, the domes are colored, which makes it a little bit easier to identify. And then the challenges are handled here. You figure out the difference between the attack and the defense, or your stat and what the challenge is going up against. In this case, wits. And then you flip a card, and whatever the difference is, you get either a pass here, an amaze, a squeak, a failure, and then there is a fop on here. Yeah, that's the fop. You use it for combat. This is a miss, this is a hit, and then this is a plus or minus to your penetration roll, which it used to be. So surprisingly enough, it actually makes the game go a lot faster. Just not shaking and doing all that. It's stat, flip a card, stat, flip a card, stat, flip a card, which is kind of cool. Another thing that they've done is these character cards are a lot prettier than they used to be. So these cards are the size of a standard playing card, and you can see how much bigger these character cards are. So that's kind of cool too. The other difference is the character tokens. Let me get somebody who I know where they are. We'll take these guys. So there are these circles, and they're double-sided, which is nice. So you get the white team and the black team, the two teams in the game. I would have liked it better if this was around it, because it's still a little bit hard to identify the black for some reason. It just doesn't stand out to me. So if there was a circle around it of that color, I would prefer that, but I know why they didn't, because a cool resource that they've provided is you can go on the website and actually make your own characters. You input the stats, and then it uses I think it's Visual Basic. I helped somebody for a little while try to create some custom characters, and you just input the stats here, tell it what age and everything, hit generate, and it makes a card for you that then you can put your own image onto. I've used a couple of the pre-generated images, or pre-generated cards, and it added images too. I'm not using them here, and I probably won't ever use them, but they're kind of cool. So those are some of the kind of just aesthetic differences to the game. We are on turn 3. I'm not tracking turns. I probably should be, because this is a 12-turn scenario, so maybe we'll do that. Everybody's on the board now, which is kind of where I like to come into the game and show it. That's handled a bit differently. Also, instead of bringing on 2 people every turn, you bring in all of your people that have honor here, which is the bottom stat, equal to or greater than the highest honor that your opponent doesn't have on. So you can see here, when we started the game, Decatur here, Decatur, has an honor of 6. That's the highest. So the white team, the team with the highest overall honor, started with him, her, on the map because their honor is all equal to or higher than Steven's. So that's a different wrinkle. It gets the people on the map a lot quicker. I don't know if it really gives an advantage. These guys tend to get on a little bit faster, but it tends to balance out. Everybody came on in turn 3, and I think it's kind of set up that way. Other differences. We'll just get to it. So the turn sequence is the play. You do free actions. One difference here, these guys are exchanging a card. You no longer pay movement points to do that. You just do it in the free action. So he's giving this card to the gladiator. So I wonder what that card is. That's the only free action we're going to do. Then we get to fire. Again, if you fire, during the fire, you can't move. They don't have anybody that wants to fire right now for various reasons. And then we'll go into move. Movement is exactly the same. These reference cards that they provide are a lot nicer than the other ones because they're on these big cards. They just seem a little bit more functional. So here's the melee, ranged, damage. So we'll get everybody moved. If anything exciting happens, we will come back and take a look at it. Yes, the other big difference, and this is my one giant complaint about the game. This game uses programmed learning on how to play the game, and I really, really, really never like that in a game. I think I might try to spend some time restructuring these rules kind of as a community asset, because you start off and it gives you a little background and what the different stats are and what they mean and why they're there, and then you do a trial run, and then and that teaches you how to move and how to do melee, and what the cards do. Then you do trial run 2 and it teaches you how to do ranged and how to handle line of sight. Then you get into trial 3, which is how to adventure and do things like that. And then you get into these missions, and they handle things differently in them between how you would actually play the game. The full game just isn't handled well in these training scenarios, and I feel like they're a waste of time. It's not that complex of a game. Just give me the rule book, let me play. If you want to make scenarios, you can. But one of the cool things about the original is the variability. Use 3 platters, use 6 platters, use 4 platters, whatever you want to do. Use variable team sizes for the different lengths. And there's some of that in here, but program learning is a terrible idea. No one should ever use it for any type of game. If you feel like some rules are too complex, make them advanced rules. Otherwise, just put everything in order. Something they have done, though, is provide an index. So when I want to see how to handle the vault, I can look up and figure it out. Another nice thing that they did include is, I think it's in here, there's kind of the major differences between Duel of Ages 1 and Duel of Ages 2. Not all of the differences are handled here, but most of the big stuff. There was a rule, of course I can't remember what it was now, that really struck me as being quite different. That wasn't included in this list, but that's okay. Just please everyone, no program learning. Everybody moved. Nothing super exciting. The horse is hiding in the woods there. Something's fishy over there. She wants to stay out of the way and then try to get into the Lith Alliance and adventure in there. So let's look at adventuring. So here's how it works. The labyrinths now have 3 of these icons you can land on, and when you get your marker into here, there's not the guardians anymore. Once you get in here, there are 3 types of challenges you can do, but they're all the same challenge card. It's just what track you want to advance on. So we get here, we flip this card. This says, attacker better by 0. All heroes are created equal. At least Lith will treat you as such for this moment. So there's no challenge there. A typical challenge would look like this, where they have a defender rating of 6 in their wits. These correspond to these on the card, and that's where you get your bonuses. So you get a bonus for being part of the same age, ancient in this case, and then these are different classes that you can get bonuses in if you match those. So in this case, all things are created equal, attacker better by 0. Then we look at the challenge card, and it will tell us attackers better by 0 to 1, 2 to 9, etc. This is if your stat is actually less than what it would be on there, or your defender, or you're attacking and they're actually better in that stat than you are. So we're better by 0, we get a pass. From here on, it's pretty much the same. Actually, no, it's not. So this symbol here means you can advance the Guardian, like we used to call it, but there's not the Guardian, you actually place a team marker. And there are these guys, and you would just place it in here, and then if you face this challenge again, you can advance it, and then all of your team gets +1 while adventuring, +1 to hit, +1 speed. Now if the black team gets in here, they would actually remove this instead of placing their own. So only one team can have the advantage in any of these at one time. And then of course at the end of the game you get points based on who has the most of those. And then Kit's going to get a card and then get dismissed. And then this card goes away. So that ends up being more or less the same, but it's handled pretty quickly by those cards. So let's get him his card. There are also different types of cards, and I don't know if later on in Duel of Ages 1 if this was included, but if you get to gain 2 cards, you can spend those 2 cards to gain 1 elite. You can't spend 2 cards you own, but when you get, instead of getting 2 cards, you can get one of these elites. When you get 1 card, you can either get 1 common card or 1 secret card. The common cards are what we're used to seeing. It's weapons and things like that. These secret cards are all sorts of weird different things. Some are challenges, some are secrets that you find, like you find a passage through a cavern wall, things like that. So it gives some cool different twists and different options. So Kit's actually going to take one of these cards because he wants a ranged weapon. That is not the case here. Same thing here, you have to beat these to be able to use it. He has 5 strength, he has 4 intelligence, so he can use it. And also you can see that some of these characters have cards down here. That means even if they don't beat the strength or intelligence, they can still use it. So ranged rifles and grenades he can still use, and that would be here. So Kit's good to go to use it, but if he had that throwing star thing on his card, he could use it anyway. So that's adventuring, and then we'll dismiss him. He goes to green, which will put him, unfortunately, he can go right here. He'll probably do that, even though he got hit earlier by Decatur. You can't see them, but there are 2 wound markers here. So I think that's it for white. It's black team's turn. I'll probably just try to focus on white for whatever reasons, just to not drag this out too much. Another difference we didn't look at is if you travel through your team's base, or your HQ, you can pick up one of these black tokens, which are used to, they're double-sided, it doesn't really matter what they are. There's bacon and gold and fairies in there. And then you can deliver those to Lith's chamber here and gain favor with her, which is nice to do. So it's ways out of the way, but he'll pick it up just in case. It doesn't seem like it counts as a card or anything, so you might as well. He was in there trying to get to the vault anyway. So I wanted to point that out, that something to pay attention to. More differences.